Hello and what up, dope people? Yeah, oh yeah. It's time for daily number, it's part 2. That went well. This is daily number 511, I guess, where we learn to be a better gamer, I suppose. It's not day 9 daily number 511, it's 512. Man, brain is just operating at amazing levels today. In part 1, we explored the idea of optimizing builds for zergs in a sort of theoretical framework, and we got the example build from this fellow named Archon that we're going to try to optimize. What we're going to do now is create a little to-do list for ourselves. Let's see here. Where is my refinement thing? Great. We have here me. I'm getting ready to play. What we want to do is we want to get an order for these buildings. So I'm just going to go hatch pool gas as the first set, layer evo second gas, and then I'll do something like third, fourth gas, hatch evo, yeah, and then I'll do, what else do we want to do? We want to do second evo plus roach warren, and then let's go infestation pit into hive. I know these can't happen at the same time, but I'm just getting a loose order. Because what did Archon want to optimize? He wanted to optimize Ling Muta. Whoopsie daisies. Let's do this. I forgot that you need a spire to get them mutalisks. Yes! Fantastic. This is a loose ordering. I'm intentionally putting in somewhat of a mistake right now. Oh, there's an Evo right there. I'm losing track of my Evo count. I'm intentionally putting a mistake in here, but that's okay, because that's the whole point of this, is that we try to optimize this. We're going to do this. And then what we're going to do a lot in part 2 is we're going to be refining it and comparing it and seeing if we can do anything more magical. Something like building this Evo chamber earlier, building these gas geysers earlier, perhaps even taking another expansion, which I suppose I should put in here. So let me just go third base. Yeah, alright, yeah, and let me build some Banes around here. Cool. I think I have everything. This is quite detailed. This is actually extremely detailed. I'm like not even missing any gas geysers in here. I have my second gas and everything. But notice that this took me 90 seconds to do. Pretty easy to come up with an ordering. We're going to go ahead and hop to. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and put my headphones on because I always play more comfortably with headphones. It is going to be me against myself. I'm going to plug in while this is loading. So when this pops up, the most important thing I'm going to be doing is not worrying too much about these overlords and that sort of thing. That's actually not the most important thing. The most important thing that I want to be doing is trying to spend all my larvae. Before I do anything, I want to be spending all my larvae. Now, I'm going to do something that many people do. Send my overlord out. Overlord, go here and then forget about you. I think many of you are seeing that I have 5 hotkeyed as my hatch and 0 hotkeyed as my hatch. I have each individual hatchery hotkeyed. So 5, 6, 7, 8 are all individual hatcheries and 0 is all of them. So in case I need to do something like build nothing but roaches, I can hit 0 SR. But 5, 6, 7 allows me to see how my larva count is doing. I did an extractor trick. Many fine folk like to do a overlord on 9. I'm fine with whatever. So let's see. First item of business is that we want to try to get our expansion hatchery up at around 15 supply. I'm going to go 15, 16, 17. I'm just going to give a shot for these. Now, one thing I want to emphasize, I am not I had something I wanted to emphasize, but I completely and totally forgot it. Nice. I'm not going to be doing any super crazy micro any of that. I'm actually just largely looking at buildings. And I want to make sure that I hit these injects right on time. So I'm just tapping around at 5, 6. I think that a super important place to look for every Zerg player is this area right here where my mouse is wiggling around.
We require more.
This area is where I'm going to be looking to just double check myself to make sure I'm sort of on pace. I think now seems like a reasonable time to build an Overlord. And I'm going to gas on 17. Is it too early? Is it too late? I don't care, because many games will be played as I'm doing this thing. The Orca. Tap, tap, tap. I like to have my pool hotkeyed as 4. That pleases me greatly. So now I'm going to add this. Oops. I'm going to add this hatchery to control 0, so that way I can 0 both of them. So I'm going to build 2 lings and a queen and a queen, and I'm going to go right back to building nothing but drones. So notice I have 5 here, 6 here, 0 is both of them. And you can do things like tap 0 and look at the larva count there. I've seen many pros do this, where they generally idle on whatever their combo thing is. In these build orders, actually I'm going to pause right now. Let's just recap where we are right now. I'm now about to build my Zergling speed. I almost have that much. I also clearly am going to need an Overlord in a moment here. Overlords are going to feel like the biggest obstacle for nice refinement of play. What you will very quickly find if you just play 3 to 5 games in single player mode like this is that you are going to have way the hell more money than you had ever thought humanly, physically, frickin' possible in any way. You are going to be... I don't remember what I just said. I think I just lied. You're going to have way... you're going to have way less money. If you, if you are missing Overlords, you can't spend any of your larva. And how much larva do you have as Zerg? A lot! All your money is spent on building things out of the larva. That's the big thing. So in fact, hitting drones and Overlords has the biggest impact on your build with Zerg when compared to any of the other races. So right now, I actually kind of ignored the Overlord timing, and we're going to come back to that in the refinement process coming up. So what I did is I intentionally built 1 Overlord. I'm also intentionally not pulling guys off gas. I think these are going to show up as clear mistakes in a moment. But this is a technique that I want to show off in a second, where I'm actually going to build 1 more Overlord. So I'm kind of like, alright, cool, I'm looking good. This is why I have these hotkeyed as 2 different things, because I can look there and see exactly how I'm doing on my management of my larva. So in fact, the way you'll see me spam when I play Zerg is I'm doing things like hitting 1-5, 1-5, 1-5 to make sure that I'm not missing any injects. Oh, missing an inject there. Okay, cool.
We require more minerals.
So far, I've managed to avoid getting supply blocked by Overlords, but I will also note, see how I didn't take my dudes off gas? Just by not getting supply blocked, I very clearly cannot afford to go layer right now. Nice. Nice.
Game resumed.
So, I'm getting ready for what next? Yeah, I guess my layer, Evo, second gas, and Baneling nest. Okay, let's do that. Oh no, I forgot an Overlord, you guys. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to build some Overlords now, and I'm going to continue to inject larvae like this. And this is very common to see Zerg players do. Well, I have the money. Time to go on to my next step. Let me build a layer, a gas, and a Baneling nest. And there's my Overlord hatching. Make some more stuff. I heard 2 Overlords pop out. I'm totally awesome. So let's see. Alright, what was next on the build docket? Well, third and fourth gas, hatch and spire. So in what order do I do these things? In basically whenever I can afford them. Oh crap, I forgot overlords again. I may as well just build my third hatch, gas, 0 SV.
We require more minerals.
And thanks to the fact that I have not been looking at my queens, in other words, I haven't been hitting this 5, 6 kind of thing, my queens are actually kind of high on energy. Poor little queens. This queen's actually doing just fine, but the queenie in the main, oh, she's been very inappropriate. Very disappointing. Alright, I built my spire. What's up next on the docket? Evo plus Roach Warren plus third base. Alright, cool. I'm going to do my SD thing. Alright, and let me just try to take... Oops, missing this expansion. Right now, I want to get a little bit of a benchmark, so that way I kind of have an intermediate look at what this build is like. And I think many of you are starting to see the semi-unrealistic portion that's coming up right now. I'm going to just make a round of zerglings. This I wish I had another pause for, but I'll just state instead. With this extra influx of money, asking this question, are we making units, seems out of place. I'm actually going to go ahead and just score screen it for now, just so we can get sort of half benchmarks, so that way I can get in as many games as possible. This is what a lot of people will say as zerg. They'll say things like, dude, I can't... I don't know when he's going to attack, so I don't know when I need to build units. So how can you possibly say that this build order is going to be optimized or not? This is one of the big reasons why the ordering of things, happens before the ultra-specific refinement of things. In other words, probably up to here, you will almost always be left alone. But what if around here he 2-racks pressures you? Well, build what you need to, build what you need to, build what you need to, build what you need to. And then when you finally hold it off, alright, cool, layer, Evo, second gas, Baneling Nest. Great, cool, no problem whatsoever. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And likewise, if you're here and he starts to put on a little bit of pressure, alright, yeah! Okay, now that we've gotten through that, sweet. Let's go ahead and move on to this next step. All seems good. This is sort of what happens. However, what is useful about starting off with the building optimization first is we're going to hop into this game and we're going to see some clear issues that popped up right away with me trying to imitate. There it is. I'm going to record some bench... Whoa, getting some odd lag every now and again, but all's well. Jeez, my computer just does not want to load at ×8 speed. Yuck. So where is our timesheet like this? Excellent. This is where I want to start doing some nice Zerg-specific-y kinds of things. Let's first just do our basic benchmarkings of things. We would write down things like spawning pool, hatch, and this kind of play. And what's nice about doing this kind of thing is that there are 2 big times when attacks can possibly happen. Those are at 6 minutes and 10 minutes. And in between there's more harassment type things that happen at 8. I think those are the 3 big times that you need to worry about as Zerg, and other than that, trying to think of any other timings that really pop into my mind. Things like Cloaked Banshee, some annoying drop stuff will happen around 7 to 8 minutes. A lot of Hellion Harass gets to your base at 6. If he does some early expand Hellion Banshee stuff, that happens a little after that period of time. And then at 10 minutes is really where he'll try to mount some sort of big offensive. So here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Coming back here. If we look, what do we have at 10 minutes? Well, we actually have 2 Evo Chambers, a Spire, a Baneling Nest, Ling Speed, and 3 hatches up to 10 minutes. I want that to sink in. All this issue of how do I respond, what do I do, how do I deal with it, how do I get away with stuff, really, all the big things happen at around 6 minutes, 8, or 10. Most important word to emphasize is or. Frickin' or. That is the biggest one of all. If he does a whole lot of pressure at 6 minutes, with like Hellions or that sort of thing, he can't possibly be coming up with a giganto attack at 8. It's not possible for him to build up everything he needs to. These are the sort of timings that they're good rules of thumb to use just for how StarCraft has been designed. And people making the or-ka joke in chat. I like it. So, I wanted to load up this game so we could just see to ourselves that this game length actually only goes to 9 minutes and 20 seconds, and yet I still had a pretty reasonable defense up at this point in time. Or not a reasonable defense, a reasonable set of buildings up for the mid and late game. And what's the issue that we ran into? We were forgetting overlords like crazy. We were getting ourselves a little far behind. And let me explain the process that we're going to do now. We're going to write down some of these times with some of these numbers. And we're going to really heavily optimize that. So we're feeling really super good about being left alone. Then what are we going to do? We're going to mock up what the experience is like of being attacked. And then after that, we're just going to go back to re-optimizing the buildings. So let me actually write out what that kind of looks like. For Zerg, we do build for optimal, not messed with, conditions. Do the build for optimal, not messed with conditions. Do the build for... I'm not going to use the word optimal, considering I'm using it for optimization and that sort of thing. Do the build for non-attacked conditions. I realized my wording was really bad, so I'm changing it on the fly. Optimize for non-attacked conditions. Pretend that there's an attack coming at 6, 8, or 10 minutes. Notice how not so different things are. It's the step between these three where everyone is, oh, it's impossible, there's way too many variants. We're actually going to see that that's not so much the case. So I want to come back here, I want to record some of these timings. Yeah. So let's go ahead and find out when our pool begins. We're going to do this at ×8 speed because it's not important to look at every little gritty detail. We sort of felt through where some of those bumps arose. There's our hatch going down. And it looks like, yeah, we got it around. Okay. 250, pool start. I'm going to leave this unit tab open. 2 larvae, 15 drones, 2 overlords. Okay. But what was the next time we did? Random moment at 6. Alright, speeding things up to 6. And... I realize now I could have scrolled to 6 minutes, but alas. Okay, 6 minutes. Let's start recording quickly. Random moment. 1 larva. How many drones do we have? 35 drones. Let's see here. 2 queens, 5 overlord. We can already see... Oops. 4 legs. We can already see that at this random moment of 6, we have a lot more drones. Again, this is why, in my little refinement process, I say optimize for non-attacked conditions. In both these games, we weren't attacked. This is just a demonstration of the importance of not missing any of those larvae. Let's find out when our layer Baneling Nest starts. When's our... Oh! Baneling Nest and Lair got started, let's see, 30 seconds ago. So, okay, cool, 6:30. Lair Bling starts. What do we have? 10 larvae, 44 drones, 4 lings, 2 queens, 7 overlords. We can see here, I'm actually going to change these orders because I don't want to be different. I want to stay the same with myself. We can see that we are, in fact, accelerating pace. At this time, we had fewer drones and this sort of thing. And I'm going to take another measurement at 8. This is the one slight issue with this daily, is just that I'm trying to go quickly because it's 8:03, but looks like we'll just go a little longer today. Who'd have thought that it would be important to go a little bit longer? At 8 minutes, cool. 8. It was a random moment. Oops, no, it was not a random moment. That was when the hatch and evo chamber started. And let's see, the hatch started 45 seconds ago. So it was actually 7:15. Hatch starts. And we can still see that we're ahead of our previous pace. 7 larvae, 51 drones, 4 lings, 10 overlord, 2 queens. And this is where I'm actually going to stop, and I'm going to play another game after recording this one final measurement. And the big reasoning behind this is that I don't want to get too ultra incredibly specific if I'm in this ordering phase, if I'm still trying to refine. Why is that? I don't want to be recording too many numbers if I play and I think, that felt like shit. You can use your intuition, and that's why here I said, use your intuition. I'm recording the benchmarks just for the purposes of this daily, so that way we can see very clearly how the step-upping is occurring. But for now, I'm just going to record some final numbers, random moment. And we can start to see things like, hey, at 15 minutes we had 59 drones built. Here at 9:30 we had 59 drones built. 16 lings to kind of fake an attack. And it's at these moments when, now, as I've done a little bit of this, I'm going to refine it just a bit more, and then in part 3 we'll really think about kind of faking these attacks. What can I die to? Make enough defenses? No big deal. We pretend that there's an attack coming at 6 or 8 or 10. So let's go ahead and do one last little optimization of the thing. StarCraft, custom games, create game, Cloud Kingdom, create game, go! In this game, what I'm going to try to be ultra incredibly precise about is just not missing any larva injects. I'm also going to do a slight refinement with my gas. Now, what I'm doing at this point in time is I'm pretending that this is like game 7 or 8. In, oopsie daisies, I didn't even rally. I'm going to pretend that this is game like 5 to 8, somewhere in that range of me trying to optimize my build, where I'm just playing like the first 10 minutes, and I'm trying to get those first 10 minutes down. Eventually, I'll want to go really far like this, and I may very well do that in part number 3. But for now, what I'm trying to do is fast forward this for your purposes. So if you're watching the daily part 2, you can think to yourself, oh, excuse me. You can think to yourself, oh, no big deal. I'm just going to pause right here and go play some games, and then see what it should look like. What we're going to see here is that my money plummets down really hard. I also maybe did something fairly basic and intuitive, like said, you know what? I want to try to frickin' get an early spine, because I'm not sure if I'm going to die. So this is sort of, again, the imaginary situation we're in. I have been trying to optimize this build for maybe half an hour, 45 minutes, and this is the current game that I'm playing on. This is game number, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 is what I was saying earlier. So, okay. I've started to decide things like I should send this drone at 200 minerals. That looks pretty good. Is that too early? Is that too late? Oh, 200 minerals seemed like just the right time to send that hatch. Okay, cool. I'll start building more drones. I will be hotkeying these as 0. I almost built an Overlord because I went into autopilot, but it's a good thing I didn't because that would have been heinous. There is my frickin' spawning pool. Oh yeah. And then I say to myself, you know what? I think I want to build an Overlord right now. How long is that? Was it 40 seconds away? How long does an Overlord take to build? What? Where's my frickin' Overlord? Where is the Overlord on this thing? Oh, there it is. Okay, I'm gonna build it now. Ooh, you know, I think I may have built that too early. It's fine to start thinking those things right now. I maybe wasn't looking at that earlier. Alright, do have my screen hotkey set up nicely. Here's my Overlord about to hatch. And he comes saving up larva because I've decided this is just the right amount that I want to work with. And I'm hitting my Q buttons. Alright, cool. And again, I have my 2 hatcheries. You can see 5 and 6 flickering right there. I'm not going to pretend that there's an attack yet. I'm going to be pretending that in part 3. And I'm looking really hard at Overlords and Larva. And the rest of the time, I'm looking at the minimap. Anytime I'm hitting 5 SD or 6 SD or hell 0 SDDD, that's when I look at the minimap. That's when that's happening.
Game resumed.
So I'm like 5 SD, 6 SD, sort of glancing around up at my money and stuff like this. So now I'm going to start sending dudes back. There's my Zergling speed. I'm going to leave guys out for just a smidge of time. I'm also going to be building a spine crawler for early defense. And I'm checking down here as much as possible. I also just built another Overlord, so there he is, popping out. Here's me hitting my 5 or my 0 SD. And you're seeing that, man, it's hard to spend all these minerals. Woo! And in fact, this next guy will in fact be an Overlord. There's my Overlord going down. Right around when you begin your injects is when you should be going, oh, I should probably build an Overlord. Seems pretty good. I'm sure many of you are starting to see where our extra money comes from. We're just building so many frickin' drones. And I'm pretty content with this. I'm also noting that I'm right at the edge, so I'm going to be building 2 Overlords. Just because that seems reasonable. There's my double Overlording. I think I only landed... Nope, there's both Overlords.
Metamorphosis complete.
So now I have link speed. Excellent. Feeling pretty good about that. Trying not to miss anything. And I'm going to go ahead and get my Baneling Nest and these other gas geysers. So remember that hatch I built earlier on? I actually wasn't able to build that hatch. Again, because I did an inject earlier, I built an Overlord. See how I have all this extra money and a frick ton of drones? I actually feel plenty comfortable, should an attack be coming, with trying to get away. With building some Zerglings in there. 0 SD. Money's actually a little high now. Oh, okay. And I guess building this, and I guess an evolution chamber. The number one thing that I'm focusing on in this game is the importance of spending as much frickin' larva as humanly possible. And we're actually going to see kind of a hilarious world of difference. Jeez, I actually have a lot more than I expected. Now, I would like to come back to something that I said earlier. Big attacks happen at 6 8, and 10. I have so many drones, I don't even know what to do with myself. You're noticing that the simple act of focusing just on this first, and then trying to consider what to do afterwards, leaves me with so many freaking drones, I don't know what to do with it. So insanely many drones, and in fact, I'm still only going to play for just 45 more seconds in this game. And I'll even go ahead and start faking it. I'm just gonna, I don't know, do I really want Baneling speed? I'll go ahead and save up till my Mutalisk pop out. I'll just keep making drones. So this is kind of the funny exercise. I actually did this with my roommate where I said, do nothing but focus on your injects and make only drones. And by 10 minutes, he had so many frickin' drones. He was like, oh. Oh, that's actually no big deal. And here, I'm just about to finish a larva inject. It didn't quite line up nicely, but not exactly what I was going for. And I'll go ahead and stop right there. I kind of stopped doing things with the build order, like considering getting the third and that sort of thing, so we're going to fix that in part 3. The second game was to more so demonstrate how frickin' much stuff we end up getting when we're just thinking about droning. I'm actually going to start speeding things up and just use this as kind of a reference sheet. When I was thinking mostly about my build, I'm still getting my pool at 250, that's no different. I'm going to stop at the random moment of 6 and take a look. And oh, at 6, I'm about where I was last game. I had not hit the D button yet, so we're literally right on pace, except I have 3 larvae here. Let's see here. It looked like my layer was actually at the exact same time. This is another really interesting moment because I pulled my units out of gas and then put them back in, and yet my layer is actually starting at the exact same time. 6:30, I start my layer. Same frickin' time. Still doing pretty good on the drone count. And in my previous game, I mimicked forgetting an overlord. In this game, I did not do that. We see the Baneling nest is starting a little bit later. But very quickly, we hit the... Wow. Oh, 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 my controls. Sorry. Got a little bit ahead of myself. At the 7:15 mark, I'm about to have a set of drones pop out. I'll let them pop out. Oh, cool. And 59 drones is where I ended up hitting at 9:30. Look at how way ridiculously far ahead I end up being. 63 drones, 64 drones, 70. In fact, it only takes about 9.5 minutes for Zerg to get the maximum number of drones that are needed. Yes. Oh, yes. So, this is where we're going to start getting a little bit creative in part number 3, where we pretend that there's some sort of attack that ends up coming at 6 or 8 or 10 minutes. It's going to be pretty straightforward. We're going to start pulling back and readjusting our build a bit more. I'm going to have to zoom through this, but again, this is why I call this, in this build order, or excuse me, in this process, the loop. We first do stuff with our buildings until we're feeling quite good. So we optimize for non-attack condition. Then we do some creative stuff with our units. We pretend that there's an attack coming at 6 or 8 or 10 minutes. Again, what can I do not to die? Trying to cut units and save myself some money, and it's a loop, so eventually I return back to here and I try to optimize again. And we'll see very quickly how not so different things are. Yeah. Cool. Alright. It's a little long. 35 minutes for a segment. Sorry for the length, but we're going to do good in part 3. It'll be like 20 more minutes. Extra long daily.